Tuperas y tuperas, what is going on? Welcome everyone to Duke by the River, this show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union. And of course, this is your PSN Union podcast. Of course, we have no games going on right now due to the coronavirus. Everyone, please make sure you're staying inside and staying sanitary and safe. But today, guys, we have a very special episode. You know, we still got soccer to talk about, even though we have no games going on down in Chester. So today, your PSN team are giving you a very special episode, but don't go anywhere because we're going to talk about it in 1 second. Let's get this started, guys, shall we? I think so. Hey, dale! And that is right, guys. It has been an interesting couple of weeks, to say the least, over here in Philadelphia, but I'm so happy we are recording another episode of Duke by the River. Although we have no games going on, guys, we still have stuff to talk about. And before we get started, before I introduce you to my PSN Union team, real quick, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our boss man, but he's more of a father figure, essentially, you could say, Mr. Liam Jenkins. It is not on today's episode, but don't worry, guys, he's fine. He is safe over there in England, but he has literally been killing it with all the Philadelphia Eagles coverage. So I really wanted to give a quick shout out to my man Liam Jenkins. Thank you for everything you have been doing. But without further notice, guys, I want to introduce you today to the panel of PSN Union guys that we have today recording this episode. And first up, my man Tim. What's going on, Tim? How are you surviving this coronavirus pandemic?
I'm surviving. Keep on keeping on. Trying to have some kind of a routine here of get up out of bed, do some work, go outside for a walk, and just trying to keep some semblance of a normal routine in this very not normal situation.
Dude, I 100% understand what you were saying. I will say I'm very thankful that the Eagles have been keeping me busy. Not a lot laying around going on for me, so I feel you on that. And it's crazy. Everyone seems to be wanting to work out now. Everyone's outside walking. I see a lot of people on bikes. We got the indoor workouts going on, so good stuff. Definitely good stuff. All right, as well today, we got my man, Matt McLean, the Clanner man. It's been tough. He hasn't been able to write those fire-ass articles for PSN due to this, pandemic. But Matt, how you doing today?
Pretty good, man. I'm actually out walking right now, clearing my head. Just got done work at 6, so.
Yo, it's a crazy part. The writer who puts out the most content is walking while doing this podcast. You can't ask anything more from my man, Matt. That's awesome.
Needed to get out of my room, man, so I'm out here walking around and taking in the fresh air.
Dude, I feel you on that 100%. And last but not least, I got my man, Mr. Jeff Greene. Jeff, how you doing over there today?
I am running out of Netflix.
I feel that one as well, guys.
I am scraping the bottom of the barrel. Like shit I never thought I would watch.
Guys, guys, right now Jeff he's starting to watch the kids portion of Netflix. So if you guys have any good stuff to send to him, send over your Netflix recommendations to my man Jeff Greene. Good stuff here, guys. All right, of course, before we start any episode diving into all the stuff with the Union, of course, we like to talk about the news and notes of your Philadelphia Union. But of course, there's really not much to catch up with the Philadelphia Union. Tim McDermott, well, the MLS in general, but Tim McDermott sent a notice to all the Union fans. It has been announced that the MLS will continue suspension for 20 more days. That is already adding on to the 30 days that it was originally announced. So right now you're looking at a May 10th return for MLS to return back to action. If that is the case, we're not sure what the MLS will do, whether we continue back in action with the match that we were supposed to play against San Jose, or will we continue back up the May 13th match against Nashville on a Wednesday. Guys, what are your thoughts now? I mean, obviously, you got to take these precautions, but, it's definitely sucks now. We're looking at 50 days potentially without your Philadelphia Union.
Yeah, it's definitely not ideal for any sports league to be off this much time. Just knowing how players have to try and train at home with this, just trying to stay active. It doesn't really do much for them. I'm sure even when They're, hopefully they're cleared to practice before that date, because they're going to need almost like a mini preseason before getting any semblance of form back. So, it's definitely not the best there.
Tim, and it's tough for us too, because we were still trying to find our groove before this all halted. So you really put up a good point there. Definitely going to be tough. What do you guys got to say, Jeff or Matt?
Well, it is strange. I mean, I think maybe it was 4 or 5 days ago where it really hit me how much sports dictate, your life. Most nights, or you're working during the day, and you get on the ESPN and you just look around for like, okay, is there a college game? Is there this game or that game? And then you plan your night around that. Well, maybe if you don't have a girlfriend, but it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go do this because this game's on at this time, and then, maybe I'll go to sleep later then. And it just really throws everything off.
No, Jeff, that is an absolute fantastic point. I'm one person, growing up, sports always played such a huge role in my life, especially like during those down times, you're stressed out with work or school. Sports was always such an outlet that I could just take to just get away from everything. It's weird. It like relaxes me in sort of a sense. So I really feel you on that. Like I said, luckily the NFL is keeping us busy. The Eagles are staying busy as well. So that's definitely thank you the NFL for keeping us busy on that front. But I 100% agree with you there. What about you, Matt? How are you feeling about this news? 50 days, no MLS.
It's tough. I was thinking about it from an employee perspective. If you work at the games, you're kind of thinking of, I have this to do. I've got money coming in, even though it's not a lot because there's just a few games there at the stadium. But other than that, I've been trying to stay positive, just working from home. And then kind of what Jeff was saying, since there's no sports, I've been into Netflix a lot. Also on HBO, catching up on Westworld. Nice. That show's crazy.
It's a great show.
Keeps my mind off things. So all's well over here.
No, Matt, I definitely kept up with what you were saying on Twitter. Definitely we're hoping that all the workers down at Subaru Park are being compensated for the lack of work that they're not getting right now. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Make sure that everyone is being paid. Personally, me, I'm on a huge Goldbergs kick. If anyone hasn't watched the Goldbergs, I highly recommend watching it. I'm obsessed, to say the least. My girlfriend was looking at me crazy, wondering why I want to watch this every single night. But that's going to be my recommendation if you guys have Hulu out there. But yeah, again, 50 days, no MLS. We will try to continue recording episodes Duke by the River, bring some nostalgia to you, to make sure that you guys stay sane like us. So good stuff on that part. All right, so you may be sitting there wondering, what are these guys going to talk about with no Philadelphia Union going on? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have gotten a little creative here, and we are bringing the nostalgia to you. We're going to try to bring some episodes on Duke by the River that, reach you deeply as a soccer fan. Today, what we want to talk about, guys, is we want to give our individual stories of how we fell in love with this beautiful sport that is soccer. And whether you call it football, calcio, soccer, whatever it is, the fact of the matter is this sport is worldwide, and it's just such a beautiful sport, and everyone has a different story of how they fell in love with the sport. So today, your PSN Union team are going to give you their story of how they fell in love with the sport of soccer, and I figured today we'll start with my man, Tim. Tim, let's hear it. I want to hear from everyone, whether you played the sport as a young child. What was the one moment that made you fall in love, whether it was you as a fan on TV or in person? Let's hear it, Tim.
Yeah. So, this is fun for me to do, because there's for this kind of thing of, what made me fall in love with the sport. I can't really point to one specific thing. I kind of broke it down actually into 4 different times where what made me really fall in love with the sport. But I would say my earliest memory of soccer was probably like a lot of kids in America of, playing the township soccer. So Saturday mornings, it's like, oh, you're on the green team, you're on the yellow team. You go and run in a field and half the kids are chasing butterflies instead of actually playing, and they're all on top of the ball and running into each other. That's my first memory of soccer.
Unless you were like me, waiting for the orange slices at halftime.
That too, yes. Very important. orange slices at halftime or like the
I'm leaving
snack you get at the end, like whose mom brought like cupcakes this time, like that was definitely like on the mind of everyone.
That is a great recovery meal for after soccer.
Yeah, for sure. That's crazy, but that's like my earliest memory. Soccer was the first sport that I played as a kid. I played pretty much everything. I loved sports, from just play baseball, football, soccer. But soccer was the first sport that I played, so it always holds like that special place in my heart. So that's like the earliest memory for me. But then thinking about the sport and my life and going through the years, I would say it took me a while to really appreciate the game for what it is. And I think for me, the main thing that made me come out of my shell and be like a super soccer fan was the 2010 World Cup and following the USA team through that. And I remember that year I was going into my senior year of high school, and it was the summer, obviously. So I was doing some like SAT prep stuff in the summer, and I remember the USA Algeria game was coming on, and it was I was supposed to be at prep, and I got like out of it like early, and I had to ride my bike home, and it was like a good like 5-mile bike ride home. And I got in right before the Landon Donovan USA goal, there where came off Rice and Boley and Landon.
Talk
Donovan
about clutch.
And I just remember getting in, being able to turn on the TV, seeing what the score was, knowing what the result that the USA needed. They needed a goal, and then seeing Landon Donovan score that goal, and then running around my house and the rest of my family like not understanding why I was so hype in that moment. But that was definitely like that moment that made me like go crazy for soccer, which was great because I was also playing varsity soccer at my high school.
Nice.
So like I loved to play, and then it just made it that much more special going into my senior year. For me, playing soccer, I wasn't always the best player. I wasn't a starter for my high school team. For any of you out there in Delco, I was at Strathaven, so they have like a mantra of being a pretty good high school soccer team.
Nice.
I was like obviously not a starter for them, and I was kind of like a person that could go in and just like play a few different positions late on in games to just like have a fresh body in there for high school sports. But I remember my senior year there, we had a game where a lot of our good senior players were off on college visits. It was like a weird like day where no one could actually play in our game, and we had a game against like a pretty good like ranked team at the time in Holy Ghost Prep, and I came in and played for most of the game and ended up scoring the tying goal that helped us get to the playoffs that year.
Nice.
So like that memory also sticks in my head of like, oh.
So you were the El Seno of that team then?
I mean, sure. If you want to call me El Seno, I mean, I'm totally fine with that. But no, I was playing like a second striker role, and basically
cool.
my job was, if the ball comes to you at the top of the box, just throw your foot at it. And I was like known for in our practices of like being really lucky and like getting these like crazy one-time goals. And I remember the play like it was yesterday. The ball was chipped over the back line, and I was able to run onto it, and I hit it first time on the outside of my right foot, and it curled into the top left corner of the goal. It was a crazy moment. I didn't even.
How'd you celebrate, Tim?
It was great. I didn't realize like in the moment what had happened. It was in the second half, and we were already down. So like I like realized that I hit the ball. It felt good coming off my foot, and I like kind of looked up, and it looked like it was going over the goalie's like outstretched arms, and I was like, okay, like it has a chance to kind of dip down onto the crossbar, and then it did, and I kind of remember turning around, seeing my bench going crazy, and then realizing that I scored and just like letting out a scream. Not even moving. It was like,
dude, that's awesome. I'm getting goosebumps right now for you. Like, that's freaking awesome.
Like that was it right there. And then just another thing of like cementing my love for soccer, besides just playing it, like loving to play, and not necessarily being the best, but loving to play, and watching that USA team, was then getting into the Union obviously in 2010 and then 2011. 2011 was my first home Union game of going as a fan, and it was against LA Galaxy. It was unfortunately, I remember David Beckham wasn't able to play that game, but I wasn't like there to see him. I was there to see the Union. So I was like, oh, it is what it is. Like, okay, David Beckham's not here, but we're gonna go dupe on LA. Like, let's go. And I remember that game because Landon Donovan scored in that game too. Of course, he scored early. But then second half subs, Jack McInerney and Danny Mwanga came to the rescue, and Mwanga got a goal in the second half. And I was like, I'm going to come back to Union games because this atmosphere is electric.
The ghost
of
Danny
original
Mwanga.
Number 10, right?
What's that?
The OJ.
Original number 10?
Oh, yep, the original number 10, Danny Mwanga. Yeah.
Nice.
Our first pick in the draft, too, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, first pick in the draft. Yeah, I just remember it was funny because McInerney and Mwanga were like, they were subs off the bench for some reason, but they looked like the best like striker pair that the team had besides like Latu, who was up on an island by himself for some reason. But it was 2011 was a weird year. I mean, it was their playoff year, but I don't know, at times they didn't look too good certain games. So, but those are like my memories. Like those 4 parts like show me why soccer is so important in my life. And it's partly playing the game and then watching the game and growing to a better understanding of it. So that's what I have. It was a little long, but definitely good to talk about these things here.
No, definitely. I kind of wanted to know from you. Definitely a great story. I loved it. But I was curious because a lot of fans, they do get into the Euro soccer or some other league. Did you ever, by any chance, get into any of the Euro leagues? Did you like a team at all?
Yeah, I mean, when I was going through high school, like obviously that was when Kaká was pretty big, and then also I think he was when he was with AC Milan at one point there, and then I knew the teams, but I never really like supported any teams. So
Gotcha.
It wasn't actually until college where I had some friends kind of get me into it, and I was like, I kind of want to watch. I was interested in watching the Premier League because it was when NBC had first really started broadcasting games. So I was like, I want to get into this, and I had some friends who were a little bit all over the place. Some people supported Manchester United, some people supported Arsenal, and some Liverpool. And I was like, okay, like I don't want to be bandwagon on any of these teams, but like let me like look at these 3 teams and with my friends and like see the style of their play and who I really want to root for. And this was back in like I want to say 2014, and I ended up choosing to support Liverpool as my Premier League team. So that is my squad. I know that probably hurts you, John, because I know you're an Everton fan. But I enjoyed watching.
No, I will say you picked the right time to root for Liverpool around that era.
Yeah. I mean, it was right after actually their collapse when they had
Steven
Gerrard slip. It was the season after that, so it was like the downfall of Brendan Rodgers and all that fun stuff. But this year has been a fun time to support Liverpool for sure, even though we're not sure if the Premier League is going to award them the title if they can get back and play games. I know they want to try to do that. They were making news today of the Premier League wants to get their season back underway at some point. But so that's my European team. I definitely keep tabs on all the other leagues too, but I never really got into like Serie A or La Liga or the Bundesliga. But I definitely watch the games. They're entertaining.
Well, no, I'm really glad that you said that. Like, I do relate a lot to your story, Tim, especially with the Euro stuff. Like, I'm the type of person, I can't root for, like, I can't be a bandwagon. Like, I could never root for, like, a Man U or a Real Madrid or Barcelona, something like that. And, it's tough with Euro. I mean, obviously, like, we all watch Euro soccer, but, like, it's tough to, like, be as invested as the Union because I'm a type of guy who, I love my city and I love my community, and that to me is more important than what's going on in Europe. But, I mean, obviously, you can't deny the quality that's over there. But, good stuff. I love the good first story so far by our man, Tim. All right, let's move on to my man, Jeff Greene. Jeff's got an interesting story, and I can't wait to hear about it. So, Jeff, let's hear your soccer story.
Well, I know I've discussed this before, but I'll add on to it. I really kind of avoided soccer most of my youth. I played baseball and basketball.
Nice.
As I mentioned before, one when I was engaged, my fiance's friend was the union's first VP of communications, and they were just like giving away tickets, that first season. And she said, my friend wants to come down to this game, and I was like, okay, and
soccer. What the hell is that?
Right. So I mean, and I had, honestly, maybe watched a few matches in my life up to that point, and I got there, and the crowd was sparse. I remember it was super hot that day, and I was like, this is going to be a long day. But then, when we're driving home, I was like, that I kind of liked it, and I started going back. And it was actually like I actually felt embarrassed asking some friends and family, like, you guys want to go to a Union game? And, they're like, all right. But, then I got a lot of them to go, several times even, without me. So I felt, like I accomplished something there. And then like Tim, I got into Liverpool because,
okay.
I wanted a filler there, and I remember tuning in, and it was Suarez and Sturridge, and they were just tearing it up. I mean, it was unbelievable, and I'm still confused about why Sturridge. Like, I don't know what's happened to him since that season.
He's going Rooney.
No injuries. No one wants him on their team. Guy's super talented, but
now he's got a gambling problem.
Oh, is that it now? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he can work that.
There's a casino right down the road from Subaru Park. If he's
I know.
Get him over here. Actually, I decided to start playing soccer at 37.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now, I had no idea what I was in for. I signed up for this indoor league, and I really didn't do much research. And I'm thinking, the field is the same size. So I get there and I see everyone is just sprinting nonstop in like these basically like hockey shifts, like 3-minute shifts, just sprinting. My prep for my first game was I went to a field with my soccer buddy. We kicked the ball around for about a half hour and then went and got some beers. So that was the training I did for this. And I was just getting my ass kicked. So after that match, I just did nothing but treadmill for days. But I was glad I stuck with it. I did that for about like a year and a half. Now I am a Liverpool fan, but and I know it's strange to say, but I have a place for Tottenham in my heart because that was the only EPL match that I saw live. I went to one of the last matches at White Hart Lane, and
wow,
saw
cool.
Tottenham and Everton.
Oh,
nice.
And it was a great experience. I actually saw some Union fans in line to go in.
Really?
Yeah, they had their gear on. I had my hat on, and we were just hugging each other. It was pretty amazing.
That's weird coincidence.
Yeah, and it was a strange thing. I remember I had to walk to some ticket booth outside of the stadium to get my pass before I went in. And I see like just these guys are just like wolfing down these sandwiches, and they're shoving it in like it's the end of the world. You go in there, nobody eats. Nobody eats during the game.
Yeah.
Nobody. They sit there and they watch. I was afraid to take my phone out because I'm like, I'm at White Hart Lane. I have to take some pictures and some video. And I'm like looking over my shoulder, and I'm like, I saw some guy pull his phone out. I'm like, oh, okay, it's cool to do that. But there were like no concessions in there. It was just all business, and it was it was an awesome experience. I actually one funny thing, and I remember getting my when I got my ticket, there was this disclaimer on it about not wearing the visiting team's colors.
Yep.
And I bought this bright blue rain jacket before I went to London, and I'm walking to the train, and I'm reading the thing on the ticket, and I'm like, fuck. Like everybody, as far as where I was coming from in the train, was wearing either white or dark navy, and I had this bright blue, looked just like Everton jacket on that train, and I was just getting looks like, oh God, I hope I live through this.
This bloody scouser.
But yeah, I'll try to send you guys. I took a couple videos during the match. It was pretty awesome. But other than that, I as far as the Union go, it was funny. You guys mentioned Danny Mwanga. He and Latu are still my favorite combo.
Yep.
Really not.
I mean, that was just Novak just knowing just wanting to destroy a team. He not playing Roger Torres. But I would say the memory that stands out for me most as far as going to a Union match was that Kleberson game. I remember they brought him off the bench, and they were not playing him at all, and the team sucked, so we couldn't understand why they're not giving this guy a chance. But I don't think that was Novak. That might have been.
Was that Hackworth?
I think it might have been Hackworth. And I remember Kleberson came off the bench, and the Union had a free kick, and it was he and Latu standing back there, and it was actually Bendick in goal. And
that's funny.
When that ball went in, personally, and I think I was in section 130 or 103. I was pretty close to the Union goal. I had never, and I still to this day have not felt the stadium shake like that after a single goal, including anything that I saw this season. It was unreal. It was unreal.
Definitely. Some interesting times in the beginning of the Union. Crazy too. I wanted to point out in Europe, it's crazy. I wish we were like this in America. Like people don't eat like Jeff said. People don't drink either. Before and during halftime and after game is really when they drink. So it's definitely interesting there. Good stuff there, Jeff. I love hearing this story from you. All right, up next, we got my man, Mr. Matt McLean. And Clanner, I'm really interested to see what your story is, but let's hear what you got there.
First off, I'm still walking. I'm proud of myself.
Yes.
This whole time.
Yes.
So,
walking podcast.
Getting those steps in. I think my love of soccer really is due to its international appeal. I was growing up and I played all four of the major sports, other than hockey, because I don't know how to ice skate still, fortunately. But anyway. All the other four sports were centered in America. It was viewed that we had the best teams that played the sport, and then soccer is the complete opposite. All the good talent is elsewhere. So that was kind of something that piqued my interest because not a lot of other kids were playing soccer or were obsessed with soccer. They were mainly sticking to football, baseball, basketball, hockey, and I love those sports too. But that was one thing that made me kind of stick with soccer. I played it up until probably close to 7th or 8th grade. And like I said before, there was just too much running. I know it's a horrible excuse, but my mind as a toddler at that time, I was like, yeah, this is too much. So let's just play basketball, court smaller. But yeah, I mean, I scored one goal my entire career. I remember it.
I remember my one too.
Yeah. That's it, just the one. We were playing this horrible team. We actually couldn't score another goal. Or at one point in the game, the coach was like, if we score again, we're going to be penalized because you got sportsmanship points. So this was before that. I was playing up on a corner kick, and the ball like trickled across the goal line, and I was probably like 2 yards out and just tapped it in, and felt really special. Because like like Tim, I'm sure you talked about it when you score, like you kind of don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So all I did was just run back towards the midfield and just pointed and screamed. That was it. But that's another thing. Like, there's just good memories I still have from the sport, so that's why I continued to follow it after I stopped playing. Being on a travel team and traveling around with not only like your parents but just your teammates as well, you become like a close-knit family.
Of course.
That was a positive experience for me because we had the same guys on the team kind of each year. So like your families know their families and everybody's all friendly with each other. Orange slices, you mentioned that, John. That's a big thing. Where else can you just get a free snack in the middle of the game? Can't do that in baseball. I can't bring like a hot dog on the bench. Although I have done that when I was a kid and got yelled at. That's another story.
Dude, orange slices are way better than sunflower seeds. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, because if you're playing soccer with sunflower seeds, you're gonna.
That's
awful.
That's a tragedy waiting to happen.
And then I guess back to the international thing. The other thing is my grandmom is she's from Portugal, so
nice.
me and my brother were always like keeping tabs on Portuguese soccer, and then
it's definitely got a lot better over the years.
Yeah, and like we kind of grew up as Ronaldo got really popular, so we were always kind of keeping up with international soccer and just seeing how the fans approach it over there, and then seeing it take hold in America. It's been cool. So,
are you guys? Hell yeah! Are you guys paying attention to João Félix now?
No. My guy is Bruno Fernandes. I don't like Man U, but I'll follow him. You know what I mean?
He has been like the best winter transfer so far. That's awesome stuff. Now, how did you get into the Union, Matt?
Like they said in like the first episode, I started working there. But before that, when the team first came, I kind of remember that pretty vividly, because you actually had a team now in the area. You weren't,
of course,
just following Europe or maybe a close by MLS team. Because before that, my main focus was on Premier League, and then they said Philly's going to get a team. So then I shifted gears and tried to learn a lot about MLS, just because. I don't know, it just was in the back of my mind as opposed to the Premier League. But I think just that initial hype of getting the team and then realizing it's going to be 15 to 20 minutes away from my house, in the same county as me, that was kind of cool too. So that just initial rush of fans, I was one of those guys and followed it through high school a bit and then faded off when I got to college. But like FIFA kept me in it. You're playing with like roommates and
of course
people and friends, like that kind of makes you follow the sport because you want to pick a good team and know the good players. But yeah, that's my soccer story, if that made any sense.
I will say that I've been playing a lot more FIFA since this quarantine's been going on.
It's a great game, man. It's great.
It's awesome. I love it. I've been teaching my girlfriend's brother too, so we've been FIFAing it up for sure. Matt, one more question I have for you. I know you said you've been following a lot of Portuguese, like the Portugal national team, your whole life. Did you ever like watch any like what specific Euro league did you watch? Did you watch mainly Premier League? Did you have a team? Did you watch any of the Portuguese Superliga?
We didn't have like TV access to watch the Portuguese league, but I would always follow them on like the ESPN app. FC Porto and Sporting.
Yeah.
Like the two main powerhouses. And then I went there when I was a kid, and we stopped at like sports shops and you kept seeing the same logos. We bought scarves, and that was like shortly after FC Porto had just won the Euros in 2004.
Nice.
So like people were still buzzing about that. But yeah, those are the two teams we kind of followed.
I've always had an appreciation for Porto because they've always given chances to Colombian players. Like Falcao has been through Porto, James Rodriguez has been through Porto. Right now, they're actually giving a good chance to an up-and-coming youngster in Colombia named Luis Diaz, who's a speedster, and he's actually performing very well for Porto. So definitely keep an eye on Porto. But definitely good stuff. I love that one. I can connect with your story, Matt, because of the whole Portuguese thing, and especially like me in Colombia. I love it. I definitely love it. I will say, guys, while we're recording this, there's been 3 kids, I'm not kidding, 3 kids that walked by my girlfriend's brother's townhome with a soccer ball at their feet. So, guys, we're making progress. We're making progress.
Growing the game.
Yes, I love it. I wanted to go outside and play with them, but no, we're still doing social distancing. All right, I'm going to give you my story. My story is very complex, very interesting. Now, as you guys know, I'm a very proud Colombian American, but I will have you guys know that soccer was not my first love. Growing up, especially, my childhood years, I spent most of it in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Football, like many other suburbs in the Philadelphia area, dominates what kids want to play. The Eagles took over my life at the age of 9, and from then on, like it was a weird obsession of mine growing up. But football was the first sport I really fell in love with. I played a couple years of American football. I did try all 5 sports. I played football, I played basketball, I played baseball, I even played hockey. I know Matt said he didn't play hockey, whole ice skating thing, but I played hockey. I love playing hockey, and I love ice skating, believe it or not. It's a very fun sport. But as a kid in Cherry Hill, shouts out to Cherry Hill SC. That was the club I played for growing up. I played there up until middle school. Once I got to middle school, I played my 6th grade year. Then 7th grade, I kind of fell out of it. I was a victim of bullying as well. A lot of the kids who were part of that soccer team in 6th grade year fell out of it. And 7th grade, I stuck with it. And, a lot of kids... I'm sure this still happens to this day. A lot of kids are saying, "Why are you still playing soccer? It's a foot fairy sport. You're being a little girl." To what that was the term that they would use. So I kind of fell out of it. 8th grade year, I stopped completely, and to this day, I wish I would have kept playing soccer. I wish I played that instead of football. We all know the risks of playing football. To this day, guys, I'll be honest with you. I had a nasty shoulder injury my freshman year, and to this day I still get pains in my shoulder. I still get rings in my head as well, so I wish I would have played soccer instead of it. But that's my playing story. Growing up, as you guys know, I would go to Colombia every summer. That's really where I fell in love with the sport. My grandma, my cousin, would always tell me about soccer. When you go to South America, there's literally no escaping soccer, especially in Colombia. So, that's where I got educated in the sport. I fell in love with the national team. I fell in love with the América de Cali, the club in Cali, my hometown in Colombia. But the problem was after I would come home from my summer vacation in Colombia, I would get back to the fall in Cherry Hill. I would fall out of love with soccer because everyone's back on the Eagles. Like, the Eagles are back on. So that's really where I stopped. Really, caring for it once I came back home. Once after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, I was looking for that next thing. What's that next thing I can wait for? I waited forever for that Super Bowl. What's that next thing? It took me one day at work. It was a slow day, and I turned on my phone, and I found out that Inter Milan versus Milan was playing a game, the Derby de Madonnina, a very popular derby around the world. And I turned that on, and guys, literally that derby captivated me. Like the passion from the fans, the grittiness on the field. Like, it was an intense game, and I was hooked on it. Like, right then and there, I was absolutely hooked on it. And then at that moment, I took a look around America, and I was wondering, is this sport growing? Like, I know 10 years ago, this sport was not really jumping off. But where is it now? And I looked around, and I saw that it actually was growing. People actually did care about soccer. There is a population that is small right now, but it is growing rapidly, and people love this sport. And that's, at that moment, I jumped on it, and I've decided to, do what you guys know I've been doing now. Going on YouTube, making content for it, going on social media, becoming like an advocate for soccer, trying to make soccer bigger, especially here in Philadelphia. When it came to the Union, shouts out, if anyone's ever played backyard soccer or backyard sports, that was literally my favorite game growing up. It's fantastic. I had football, I had basketball, I had hockey, I had soccer. I used to play those, and I remember playing the backyard soccer, and I remember they had the MLS guys on there, and I always knew who Carlos Pipe Valderrama. Like, if you can't be Colombian without not knowing who that is. So I always had them on my teams. Of course, they would have, like, Ben Olsen was on there.
Kobe Jones.
Kobe Jones was another great one.
Shout out to Kobe Jones.
He was always on my teams as well. Brianna Scurry was on there too. So Mia Hamm, some great former American or MLS players were on there. So I knew about the MLS, and I would watch here and there. But obviously it was hard in those times when in MLS 1.0. But once Philly finally got their squad, once we finally got a team, I didn't believe it at first. It took a kid in my math class to tell me that, yo, dude, tonight Philadelphia's MLS team is playing. And I looked at him and was like, dude, what are you talking about? We're not getting an MLS team. Why would MLS come to Philadelphia? But I looked it up, and it was true. In fact, Union were playing the Seattle Sounders in the first game, and I was like, all right, well, I can't watch TV because of my parents' strict rules on the weekdays. I had to do homework first, right? And I snuck downstairs while everyone was sleeping, and I turned on the TV in the kitchen, and I watched that game, and right then and there, I love the Union. I love the Union, but, like I said, it was tough trying to follow with soccer not being as relevant as it was. And it took me being really mature as a mature adult now. I'm 26 years old, and it's been like 2 years since I've loved soccer as much as I do now. And that's really, when I went all in and I became this crazy soccer fan. So yeah, that's really my story. I know it's complex. It's very interesting. It's interesting for me to hear myself say it because being a proud Colombian American, a lot of other fellow Colombian Americans, soccer is what they only know growing up, and for me it was just the complete opposite. But I'm so happy I was able to fall back in love with the sport. I'm so happy I was able to do coverage on the Philadelphia Union, and I'm so happy Tim and Liam found me on PSN to be able to join this amazing team. I'm really thankful for soccer. It has really changed my life around, and I hope that everyone has some sort of story out there as well as far as soccer goes.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Great story, John.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. That's our stories there, guys. It's all we really have for you today. Of course, with what's going on, guys, and I really want to stress this, ladies and gentlemen, guys, please, stay inside. Please be safe. Don't take any big risks. I know if you have to go out in the supermarket, I get that. Just try to make sure you're being sanitary. Always wash your hands. Get those sanitary wipes going. Recently, I think in the last hour, we just got the word that 3 members of the Philadelphia 76ers staff just got tested positive for the corona. Sean Payton got tested positive for the corona as well. So it's starting to get really serious, guys. So please make sure you guys are taking the proper precautions and being safe here during this pandemic. But what we want from you guys here at the PSN team, we got homework for you guys. You guys have been great listeners, and we really appreciate everything. And you guys are hearing our episode here now. But what we want from you is we want to hear your story, similar to what Tim, Matt, and Jeff and myself said. We want to hear from you. What is your story? Did you play as a kid? What got you into the World Game? What got you into the MLS and the Philadelphia Union? We want to hear your story. Send us over. If you want to write it, you can write it. If you want to send us a little audio, we definitely send that as well. And if you guys want to do a video, that would be awesome as well. You can send that over. We will definitely put all that up. If you guys are writing about it, we'll put some of those written ones on our PSN website. We'll put the audio and the video ones on a podcast so you guys can listen. But listen, this is, like I said, Duke by the River is the People podcast, and we want to hear from you guys. So definitely send us over your stories. We want to hear what made you fall in love with the beautiful game. All right, guys, any last words for our listeners now? They are going through quarantine as well. So if you guys want to say anything to our listeners, let's hear it up.
Yeah, one last thing. When you're sending over your stories, can you also send me over links on how to download Backyard Soccer? Because I really want to play it.
Yo, I might have to go to my parents' house and do a little searching because you're on to something there. When was the last time they even made one of those games?
I don't know, but they're awesome. I want to play them all right now.
I would totally be down to play some Backyard
There's
Soccer.
got to be some emulator out there, some game emulator. Search it on the interwebs, you'll find it.
I'm doing that immediately.
Yo, we might have to do backyard soccer tournaments. PSN backyards. Everyone's doing the FIFA. We got to do backyard soccer.
Throwback.
Yeah.
As soon as we're all allowed to be in the same place.
Yeah. That too. Yeah. I have one more thing as well. So I know we've been all talking about our soccer memories and our favorite memories from the past here, but I was just thinking, I have one. It's going to be one of my other favorite memories here, but it's going to be in the future. It's whenever we're able to actually like return to a normal type of life where sports and soccer are back, and being at that first live game again, either at Subaru Stadium or even just watching it on TV, and just feeling that euphoria of knowing that, oh, this is back. Like, this is going to be amazing, and how we all have this shared experience of going without something that has grounded us for most of our lives, or for all of our lives. So it's definitely going to be a great feeling when we're able to see a ball being kicked again. So yeah,
Tim, it's crazy because we literally, like, we were about to have our home opener. Yeah, like we literally were deprived of that in the first 2 weeks, and then boom, they dropped the news about this pandemic. So it is definitely crazy. Jeff, you got anything over there?
No, I mean, I would have said pretty much the same thing Tim said. It's the better, the more we follow what we're supposed to do, the quicker we can get back out there. So everybody just suck it up for, even if it's a couple more weeks, because if you don't, it'll turn to a few more months.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the most important part. Like, if the more we keep this contained, the quicker we can get back to normal life. So definitely good words there. Very, very important. And of course, guys, we're going to continue trying to come up with different ways to keep you guys engaged, keep you guys entertained. Because I know it's tough times right now, but we're going to do our very best. All right, Tim, Jeff, and Matt, guys, thank you. I really appreciate you guys, hopping on today. I know it's a little tough here. I'm hoping we, I killed a little bit of your boredom here with this episode. But good stuff here. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to Duke by the River. Whether you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, do not forget to subscribe. Continue helping us grow. Quick reminder, we are your PSN Union podcast as well, so definitely head on over to Philly Sports Network for all your Philly sports need, whether it is the Philadelphia Eagles, Philadelphia Phillies, Flyers, Union, Sixers, Fusion, Wings, whatever it is, head on over to PSN. We will find all that. You will find all your news there as well. Don't forget to send over your stories, guys. And I am at Parcero Philly, and I am telling you guys to dupe on. Dupe on, baby. Talk to you soon.